What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Unpopular Zone. Today, um, today I want to get into the Brooklyn Nets. I want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, and I want to talk about specifically the Nets making a move to waive and release Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas, former first round pick, of course. A lot of people had high hopes. There were some doubters, of course, and one of those doubters was Sean Marks, who made the move to release Cam Thomas today. So I'm going to give my reaction. I'm going to talk a little bit about Cam Thomas. Going to talk a little bit about Sean Marks and the Nets organization. So stay tuned. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to hit this intro, man, and we're going to get into this, man. Injected for the first time in his career in the seventh. Cam Thomas needs to elevate his playmaking this year. So they got to get there. They got to find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So, as you can see there, I've been talking about Cam Thomas for a while, man. You see the little clip there in the intro, man. But first I want to do is react to this report of Cam Thomas getting released here by the Post. So we're going to get into that. All right, it says here, the Cam Thomas era is over. Nets waived Thomas after Thursday's NBA trade deadline pass, letting the 24-year-old enter free agency. After the Post had reported on January 19th that Brooklyn and Thomas were headed for divorce. ESPN was the first to report that the team had made it official. Okay, so they couldn't find a trade partner, apparently. That's what people are saying. That's what reports are being thrown out there, that they were trying to trade him. Didn't nobody want Cam Thomas. Go figure. You know, nobody wants somebody that can put the ball in the bucket, which is what they do in the NBA. But that's what we're all being told. So after all this drawn out, you know, for a while here, they could not come up with a resolution. But let's continue. Thomas was averaging 15.6 points per game this season. After Brooklyn had offered Thomas multiple deals this summer, first a 2-year, $30 million contract with a team option, and then a 1-year, $9.5 million contract with incentives up to $11 million. He rejected both. Thomas inked the $6 million qualifying offer that was the beginning of the end in Brooklyn. So, look, man. Some people say this is Cam Thomas's fault, which he may have valued himself a little bit over his market, per se. Because a 2-year, $30 million contract ain't bad. 1 year's 9.5. I mean, that is what it is. You end up taking the $6 million. Now you on the street. So that's one way to look at it. But I'm unpopular opinions. This is the Unpopular Zone. We don't do that over here, man. We take the overall perspective, man, and we go to the top. Sean Marks drafted Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas was drafted, let's see here, first round, 27th pick, 27th overall in 2021. This is 2026, so you couldn't figure out. Now they didn't want to build anything around Cam Thomas. You know, they saying he can't play defense, but if I'm Sean Marks, this general manager, what are you doing with these draft picks? You keep drafting these players and you trading them and you letting them walk out the door. You get nothing. You get nothing for them. You don't have a team right now that can even compete. Now you let a 15, you know what I'm saying, 20 point per game score on a high end walk out the door for nothing. That's how I'm looking at it. You letting this guy go for nothing, and you struggling to try to piece together a team. I'm going to do a whole nother separate video on Sean Marks because I can't even put it all in this video. The thoughts I have about how bad of a general manager this guy is. So I'm putting this one on Sean Marks, to be honest with you, because you didn't get anything for him. And you let the situation become so frustrating for both sides that you just let him walk. Now he can go somewhere, you know what I'm saying, drop 15, 20 off somebody's bench, and then y'all over there looking stupid because you're at the bottom of the league. Year after year after year after year. You got this plan so-called to tank for what? 2 years, and then you going all of a sudden build a contender? Man, if y'all buying this shit, I'm telling you, if you buying this baloney that Sean Marks and this organization is selling y'all, this so-called plan, this, you know, like it worked. Did it work for Philly? The process? Did they get a chip out of that shit? Fuck no. So what we doing here? Your process is trash, bro. And it's been trash since 2016, since you got here. Like I said, I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that one, on Sean Marks. I want to keep, you know, these unpopular zones, you know, to a certain time limit. But Cam Thomas is gone. You know, he'll sign somewhere else. The Nets get nothing out of it, and they still a bad team. And you let a draft pick walk out the door for free. That's how I'm looking at it. Y'all can take it how y'all want it. But to me, that's a failure, another failure. You know, you had the Jared Allens and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie's and, you know, Cam Thomas here, you know, Noah Clowney's, Nick Claxton's, all these draft picks. You ain't got nothing to show for it. Cam Thomas, though, I wish him well. Shout out to Cam Thomas, man. From 757 Chesapeake. I hope he do well, man. I hope you go somewhere, you know, maybe you end up on a contending team and you can get a ring and really cement yourself in this league as a true scorer, you know. And people rag on this dude's defense. Like, who's playing defense in the NBA these days? Nobody. But the game is about scoring and shooting. You know what I'm saying? Field goal percentage career 43%, 3-point percentage career 35%. Those are about average. He's 24 years old. Develop the guy, and maybe he would be better defensively. Stupid. But again, man, I know this one gonna hurt my man, Big Fan Breezy. Shout out to you, man. And shout out to the Brooklyn Nets and the Brooklyn Nets fans. But y'all missed the boat on this one, man. This dude's a good player. And this one gonna hurt, man. But it is what it is. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Until next time, y'all know what it is.